Hello everyone and happy Saturday. I've kept my promise so far for March Madness. I even made 4 videos today. And this one's actually tomorrow. So if you're watching this on Sunday, I made it on Saturday. Ha! Gotcha. All right, so we have a couple more letters to read. And the reason I split this up was because when I started reading the letters in the last one, it just would have been a 30-minute video. Okay, so we got 2 more letters here out of the batch. And please send me a letter to P.O. Box 666, Roseland, Florida 32957, HamRadioConcepts. Please get rid of my P.O. Box blues, as he said. That's my favorite card. What do you think, honey? Isn't that cool? That one is my favorite card of all. I love that. That is cool. All right. So the first letter. Oh, and by the way, if you're seeing this on the screen right here, right now propagation is open to Japan and Australia on 10 meters. Let me tell you guys, if you don't believe me, just look what I did at 10 watts. I worked Italy, St. Lucia, Czech Republic, Croatia, all kinds of countries, Mexico, whatever. 10 watts with the ICOM 705. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. It was so easy, I kind of got bored. So I knocked out those videos, and here I am reading letters, because these are really more fun for me than working DX over and over and over again. Even though DX is fun, it's...
Wait a second, you were in the trailer though.
Yes, I was doing...
a break.
Yeah, so I had... the reason I went in the RV was because it was a break from my wife.
Yeah.
Not really, she's my buddy. All right, so here you go. Let's read this one. Dear Mr. Eric KJ4YZI, ask and you shall receive. This is in response to your video where you request more mail. My brother and I love your channel, and that's to go back to the other video. Here they are. This is the letter they sent. KQ4DJG and KQ4DJF. They got their license on the same day because they're 1 letter off. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Your videos helped us get into the hobby. The one thing I would complain about is the fact that your videos don't come out enough. But the quality of every video is worth the wait. Guys, that's so cool. And I pretty much did this March Madness, a video a day for you guys. You 2 dudes want more videos, and I'm going to commit myself to doing it. So far, we're on day 4, and I've met my quota. I got the whole rest of the month. So it's going to be hard.
They rock.
Yes, they rock. I love the fact that you are branching out of the ham radio space and are making prepper videos. Wait till you see those videos. I got stuff for survival food. I got stuff for, here it is, the life straw. I got all kinds of stuff sitting right here for videos for preppers and stuff, okay? Thanks for all the videos. Hope to see you at the Huntsville Ham Fest. Included are our QSL cards. Really cool. Here they are again. Because they took the time to send these. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That is just cool. All right. So thank you guys really much, very much. Now this letter, and my flip-flop fell off. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So this letter right here, this one has a couple questions. And as I told you, the video I did the first time when I read these letters and Michelle and me were outside and the audio was trashed, well, I went on a rant on this one. So let's do the rant now. That way this video, like I said, if I would have read this in the last video, it would have been way too long. So here you go. Eric, KJ4YZI, long-time channel watcher, thanks for the videos. There are 2 questions that I think are always a good ham discussion. Number 1, is FT-8 good for ham radio? Are digital modes like DMR helping the hobby or hurting it? And number 2, is the hobby aging out? What do you think the future of ham radio would look like in 25 to 30 years?
You kept them back to back. Remember the kids, it's not aging out, the children.
Right. John Wesley Walsh. Okay. So here's, okay, so Michelle wants to comment here. Let me show.
Good job.
Honey, what did I just do? Listen, you got to be kidding me. Did I just lose those 2 cards in this little bit of time? No. Man, I can't.
Honey, I'm right here. As long as I'm here, you don't lose anything.
All right, here we go. So this is proof right here that the hobby is not aging out. And this right here is what we need to focus on. Look. Okay, the youth on the air. All right. I want you to know something. I want you to know something. I'm going to say this with the utmost respect. The hobby, as far as I've been doing it since 2004, is full of a lot of elderly people. And there are some curmudgeons in there that just make it very difficult. How do we make this hobby thrive? It's with youngins like this. Okay, you see this? If I inspired them to get their ham radio license, then my efforts are fulfilled. Okay. Let's start with So question number 2 first: is the hobby aging out? What do you think the future of ham radio will look like in 25 to 30 years? Have you seen the videos I did today of the contacts on 10 meters alone? There's nothing about aging out in that hobby, okay? I think the hobby, with the radios we have, the antennas we have, the manufacturers we have, it is just berserker out there, okay? I think, if you want my opinion, ham radio is thriving more than it was in the 60s. And I wasn't even alive then, but I'm going to tell you why. You have people like me making videos, people like Josh at Ham Radio Crash Course, people like Jason at Ham Radio 2.0, people like Mike at K8 MRD Radio Stuff. Subscribe to their channels as well. So many other ham radio channels out there. Those are the way bigger than mine. Okay, that's why I mentioned those, because Josh and Jason's channels are far beyond my channel's capacity. But I mean, hell, I'm making videos on CB radio. But if you look at collectively, my channel plus their 2 channels, that didn't exist in the 60s. All right, so in the 60s, it was, you had to build your own radios, you had to fix your own radios. You had to save money, and it was a lot tougher, I'm guessing. All right? Today, you can go on Amazon with an Amazon gift card that you earn from sales on a website, or that you got for a gift on Christmas, and order a ham radio and have it to your house the next day. Okay? You could go to Gigapart's ham radio outlet, DX Engineering, on your phone and buy. First, you can look at the radios that you want to purchase, and you could purchase the radio and have it shipped to your house in 2 to 5 days. You could go on YouTube and look at the radios before you buy them. Then make your purchase at your leisure, wherever you want to purchase it, okay? In the 60s, didn't work that way. I guess in the 60s, you had to know somebody, and you had to look through paper catalogs, and you had to send out a check in the mail, or however that went, man. I wasn't even thought of yet. Is the hobby aging out? No. No, it is not. I think that with the technology of what ICOM and Yaesu are putting into their radios, I think with the technology of being able to use ham apps and have YouTube channels and collaborations on Zoom and HamFest and all kinds of stuff like this right here, this didn't exist back in the day. You had to know what was going on, or where you were. I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to say? This is my passion of this. Is the ham radio hobby aging out? No. Okay, we're going to settle that, because I'll talk about this all day. What do you think the future of ham radio will look like in 25 to 30 years? Great question. Look at it now. Look at it now. We have, our Finder has a smartphone with a ham radio built into it. They have a tablet with a ham radio built into it. ICOM, Yaesu have touchscreen radios like my 705 and everything else, and you can get on this radio and update it via USB cable and put in an SD card and take pictures of your radio and send it over the airwaves, and Bluetooth your phone to an ID5100 and send a picture, or an ID52 handheld. If you could do that now, what does 25 to 30 years look like? I don't even know. You're talking Star Trek, like computer, set my radio to this and send a picture to this person. There it goes. I mean, 30 years from now, God only knows what ham radio is going to look like. I don't think, in my opinion, you're going to see anybody using a tube radio. I don't think you're going to see anybody making their own antennas. I think it's all going to be so easy. It's just going to be like picking up your cell phone and calling somebody. That's how I think ham radio is going to be in 30 years. Oh, I want a ham radio. Ham radio may not even exist in 30 years. It's just going to be get your ham license, probably telepathically. That was a joke. And, get a radio and 1, 2, 3, you're on the air. And then, I mean, it'll be built into car dashboards probably.
Much more easier.
It'll be, the future of ham radio would look like in 25 to 30 years. Yeah, I'm going to guess there's going to be a lot of, if Bob at RFinder can make a smartphone like I had the RFinder with all the ham radio and cell phone into it now in 2023, what about 2053? That's just going to be crazy. So that's my rant there. Now let's go back to number 1. Is FT-8 good for ham radio? Stop right there. We're going to wait to the second question. Is FT-8 good for ham radio? Let's do this. See if we can pull this up right here. All right. Now, FT-8. So anywhere you go on these sites, you can see that FT-8 is being used a lot. Some FT4, some CW, some sideband. Okay. Here's what I think about FT-8. I think that it's great that we have that option. I think that FT-8 is another part of the hobby. I'm happy it's there. Is FT-8 what I want to see everywhere? Absolutely not. People are not picking up the microphone because their computer can do it for them. And it can exchange contacts, and you sit there, and it's like watching paint dry.
It's like a self-driving car.
It's like, okay, Michelle said it's like a self-driving car. It's like watching paint dry, okay? So I use FT-8 when I get a new antenna and I want to test it. So I go to FT-8 and I put it on 1 watt and I beacon out over and over again. Then I look at the PSK, the reverse beacon on pskreporter.info, and I look at where my signal was received. And it could be all over the world, or it could be, okay, well, my signal's received north and south. My antennas propagate north-south, or propagation is just everywhere, or I'm only making it to Texas, and southeast United States. It's not really taken off, So then I go to 5 watts, and then I test it again. Now, there are people out there, and if you're an FT-8 advocate, I'm sorry to say this, but some of you are using 1,000 watts, and you're trying to get awards using FT-8. And you're using 1,000 watts with a Yagi, and you're just swinging this thing around and letting the computer do its thing. And then you're gonna collect all these cards like this. Oh, look at this, I worked the world. I'm going to sit down and pet the dog. That is not as challenging as what I did today at 10 watts. That's not as challenging as these people on DXpeditions that go out there and use CW and voice to collect contacts on a contest weekend. Or even just the DXpeditions in general, okay? I think FT-8 is being abused. It was a weak signal mode. And somebody said, well, that doesn't matter. A weak signal mode could be used for 1,000 watts or 1,500 watts. It's a weak signal. No. If I can make countless contacts hand over fist at 1 watts or 5 watts, why are you doing it at 1,500? And if you think I'm wrong, there are, I know, I can name 3 people right now. One starts with a K, one starts with a W, one starts with an N. November 4, Alpha, and that's all I'm going to give you. Because he says, I don't need to shout in that microphone. I don't need to sit there and play with my key under a palm tree like you say, Eric. I set it at 1,500 watts, and the FT-8 always works. Well, that's not fun to me. And I think if you want my honest opinion, go like this. Go to 28.074. Go to 50.313. Go to 24.074. Go to 18.100. Go to 15. Whatever, go to 14.074. Go to those FT-8 frequencies when you think the bands are dead, and you'll see 30, 50, 100 people at a time relaying messages. when you hear no voice, because they just think that's the way to do it. FT-8's the only way it's going to work. FT-8's the only way I can make contacts. FT-8's the only thing we need to use. Wrong. Good day, sir. That's my opinion on that, okay? I'll get off that because I'll talk forever. Are digital modes like DMR helping or hurting the hobby? Well, I think they're helping. Now, with that being said, digital modes like DMR, and he forgot D-Star and System Fusion and NXDN and P25, you know, and also PSK31, RTTY, Domino X, Thor, Throb, MFSK 144. Those are HF digital modes. Contestia, Olivia, I love those modes. No, I don't think it's hurting it, it's helping it, but the analog repeaters are suffering. When people are on DMR all day, whether they're using a hotspot or they're using their local repeater with a talk group tied into their repeater, nobody's on analog. Now, I just want you to remember this. This is food for thought here. DMR is great. System Fusion is great. D-Star is great. P25, I've only used it a couple times. NXDN, never used it. Hotspots, I've had a bunch of them. Remember that when you're a new licensed operator, the first thing you do is get on your local analog VHF or UHF repeater. And if everybody's on DMR, D-Stars, you know what? I don't have a pen. I'll go right here. If you're on DMR, C4FM, Fusion, NXDN, P25, and you're not there for that brand new I mean, look, Brian and Mike got on ham radio from my, I'll give you my sponsor right now, my prep. Ham Radio Prep. Use the code ERIC20, you save 20%. Ham Radio Prep makes it super easy to get your ham radio license. They teach you about how the repeaters work and calling CQ and all that stuff. I've said this on Blue in the Face, but Mike and Brian are total proof of why I promote them, why they sponsor me, okay? So they got their license using Ham Radio Prep. They used the code ERIC20. I encourage you to do that. And then where did they go? 146.640 in Vero Beach, Florida. Why didn't they get on D-Star or C4FM or P25 or NXDN or Fusion or D-Star or DMR? Because it's easy to get on an analog repeater and they're everywhere. Now guess where everybody was? They might have all been on the digital. So there was one or two of us on there that welcomed into the hobby. 20 years ago, DMR didn't exist. 20 years ago, actually 19 years ago. Wow, I've been a ham almost 20 years. Yes, I have. 19 years ago, when I got on the ham radio, 146.640 in Vero Beach, Florida was my first contact on that repeater. That's analog. If everybody is on DMR, D-Star, System Fusion, that's cool. But if you're ignoring the analog repeaters, my bird's squawking now because I'm yelling into the microphone. If you're on these digital modes, great. If you're ignoring the analog repeaters, then apparently nobody's going to hear those brand new texts. Okay, so think about that. It's not hurting the hobby or helping the hobby. It's helping by giving people the opportunity to connect abroad. Echolink was the days of connecting over a repeater or a computer. When you wanted to connect to somebody in Germany, it was Echolink. And then came dongles. Now you have hotspots or DMR or D-Star or Fusion. I just say DMR helping the hobby or hurting it. It's hurting it if you never get on analog. It's helping it if you want to supplement your current ham radio hobby and to make even more contacts. Okay, that's my rant. You guys know, and if you don't know, before I wrap this up, my podcast is on every podcast platform available. You type in HamRadioConcepts podcast, you'll see it. And what I have on the podcast is called a ramble alert. That's when I get real personal, like I just did in this letter. This is the reason I saved this letter. Could you imagine this being in that first video letters? No, because I like to talk. But the HamRadioConcepts podcast is on Apple, iHeartRadio, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Spreaker, all these other ones. Okay, check that out. It's very quick. It's 15-minute episodes while I'm driving hands-free on Bluetooth, and it's fun, but that's ramble alert, okay? So I hope you appreciate that. And before I let this go, I'm going to let my wife interject here. She's got one thing to say. Michelle, come over. Come. You know what? Come on. I'm trying to include my wife in this because much like.
No.
Wait. Much like we let analog repeaters go by the wayside, I don't want my wife to go by the wayside. So, go ahead.
Okay,
So
real quick, I asked my husband a really simple question for me, and I'm wondering if any of you have thought about this. We can't use beepers any longer; they're null and void. Nextel brick phones are null and void.
Windows 3.1.
Our computers are null and void here and there. You gotta re-up. And when we did the video last night on the Lafayette from 1966, I thought to myself, wow, if that works, it still works. From 1966, guys.
What she means is you can get on that radio if I fixed it or if it worked. Even if I bought it brand new right now, if it was a new open stock, it would still be on CB. And she's like, well,
You'd
wait.
still get in contact.
She's
the beeper, no.
Yeah, she's like, didn't they get rid of those bands back? No, it's the same CB bands in 66 as it was today.
Yes, it's
on,
not null and void.
Right.
So for all you people out there that are wondering why is ham radio so important?
Why is it thriving?
Yes, thriving. The young children out there, thank you very much for keeping it going. And Eric was one of them at one point.
So what blew her mind?
But what blew my mind is I actually asked that question and it blew his mind.
This was one of those moments where she's like, wait, you mean to tell me that's just not a paperweight? That's actually, if you got that working, she said, can you actually talk to people with that? I said, yes. Channel 19, 27.185 is the same Channel 19 in 1966 as it is in 2023. And that blew her mind. So she said, why do we keep getting these phones? And people keep, she's like, those old Nokia phones and flip phones. Yeah, the old, what were they? Like old CDMA. She's like, that doesn't work anymore. And Nextel is like, yes, they phased them out. Windows.
Radio products.
Think about it. Who can get on Windows 3.1 or who can get on a BBS node or who can get on, I guess Windows 95, if you're crafty enough, you can get it working. But Windows 95 doesn't have anything to do with cable modems and fiber and all that stuff. So, you know what I mean? That's what blew her mind. She realized that a smartphone like this could be obsolete in 5 years, but that 1966 radio, if I get it working, if it does work, will continue to work as long as that radio turns on and I connect an antenna. Right?
But wait, it didn't blow my mind. It blew his mind. Then I actually
asked
the question.
Yes. All right, so guys, I'll let you go because now we've had too long of a video. But I'm going to say it one more time here. I'll show you one of the many letters here. In my effort to make you a video a day in March, I'm going back to watch Star Trek, and I'm tired today. I worked yesterday. Right here, P.O. Box 666. No, I didn't pick that number. They gave it to me.
He's not a devil worshiper.
Yes, I'm not a devil worshiper. Roseland, Florida, 32957. Please, Michelle gets more fun out of reading these letters of me like this. And the reason, now, I promise you this.
The cards too.
I promise you this. The next time that I make this video, I will not read these open. The first video I made, I said the audio was lost. I had to redo it. But look how fun that was reading it even when it was open. Okay? So 7-3, everybody. And enjoy that contest weekend.